Big up all those in YouTube land. Chelsea draw at home with Palace 1-1. Everyone's having a rage about it, but we got 99 problems, but PSR ain't one. Big up to everyone in YouTube land. JPT, my co-host, my blues brother, my blue boy. How are you?
Doing alright, man. How about yourself? We're running a little late, but better
Yeah,
late than never.
it is better late than never, and I'm not gonna lie, we're about normal. Well, we planned to do it on Monday because I got stuck at work over the last couple of days, and my mum has been an absolute soldier. I had to deal with that over the last couple of days, so I'm not being funny. You have needs must when the devil drives, and what else can you do, man? What else can you do? How are you, sir?
Doing alright. Running late. As you mentioned, flagpoles. Just running everywhere last second for this, but all said and done. 3 days late, Bosh. Big up
Big up,
Crane in the chat.
big, big up, DJ Crane in the building. Hope you're doing well, sir. He says, "Owl flagpoles and celebrating Chelsea being cleared a little too much, is he?" Well, considering they've tried doing us for the same crime 3 times,
Hmm.
apparently, and when it's not been a crime, so you can kind of understand our celebrations. You know what I mean?
Well,
Um,
you
glad
kept saying
JPT with you.
allegations. They kept saying it's allegations, but no proof yet.
Well,
I
it's not
mean,
even an
it's
allegation. Do you know the full story?
as far as like for the like what has been going on, like oh, Chelsea must be breaking FFP, or you're talking about the story about like the hotels. Big up, Miss Wolfie.
Well, that's what we got cleared by for the Premier League today, wasn't it?
Yep, 76 million I think is what we got cleared
Yeah,
for.
yeah. Okay, I'll give you the full blown. What it was is they wanted to take us to court again because they tried arguing that the fees and stuff paid for the hotels were
Hmm.
deliberately done to help Chelsea out in terms of FFP. So what the court of fair arbitration did was, all right, cool. So the only way you can get them then is if they've overcharged for the properties that they're selling. So, for example, if it was an £80 million hotel, but you're selling it to a friend, wink, wink, for 90 million, you're trying to like cheat it a little bit. But
Hmm.
after analysing everything, they've gone through it all. That they've deemed that the prices were sold at a fair rate, and you're right, they were like 76 and 80 million each, I believe, and that brought us out of PSR relegated. Was it 105 mil for a 3 year turnover? If
I
I remember
think so.
correctly. So JPT, but the thing is, and this is the thing that all the Chelsea fans was, we'd already cleared PSR anyway, and it
Yeah,
was the fact that, and it wasn't the fact that we cleared it was the problem. It was the fact of we sold our company or our company assets to another member of the consortium group. But the courts are like, hang on a minute, a sale's a sale, and
yep,
realistically, as long as there's no dodginess,
yep.
that's
No,
it.
no city BS where they had sponsors that were made up, and that whole nonsense.
Yeah. For the accounts from 2012, which they've got all the evidence for, but they can't do
Yeah,
it with because it's too late.
just
So
stupid.
dumb innit? When you look at them running around because that's the thing. It's actually proven already that City have cheated. It's just the fact of how they get can they be like actually found guilty of it. Now, the reason why we've started on this. I didn't quite want to start on this, but we'll start on it anyway. Do you think JPT it's just the fact of it's Chelsea and they're always looking to nail us, or is there actually any justice to this? You know what I mean? Because I'm not personally. I think this is all crap. It's the Todd Broley regime slapping them in the face again in terms of he can
Mm.
circumvent all the rules. They've tried to buckle him down. Now, do you think it's them hell bent on getting him because he's the one continuously pulling the wool over everyone's eyes? Or give me your take on it.
I don't know. I think it's still from it's still like the Chelsea entity that they're still associating with Roman, even though he's not here anymore. Um, and oh, sorry, just got a notification from Prime saying he'll be backstage in a few minutes. But yeah, so it's besides that, of course, we're not the most liked club in the world.
No, we're not.
So of course, I mean, shoot, Bleacher Report football is even like dedicates banter posts to us like every other day. Even today, I saw one about Kai Havertz, and he's like, "Oh, what did Chelsea let go?" It's like, okay, he's finished second place back to back, but not won anything. Well, with us, he's won Champions League. But it's just like running out of ideas. But either way,
Wait,
bullying clearly.
he hasn't had back-to-back seasons with Arsenal yet, so I don't know why he said that. Because this would be his second season, not his third. So I don't understand that. But never mind. Because when when Arsenal finished second the first time, he was playing for us.
He was playing for us. Yeah,
yeah, playing exactly.
But I guess I'm just saying, like, finish or is with a team that finished back-to-back seasons in second, but arguably you could say Nicholas Jackson had a better season, if not just as good, individually. But anyways, Bowley and Clear Lake, I mean, they just find the loopholes. I mean, this is what good businessmen do. You would kill to have lawyers to find loopholes like this to get you out of predicaments. And because they've done it, it's what can they punish them with? They found the loophole, they found the little hole, and just no Vaseline, just fucked it up. Full penetration. I'm telling you, the loophole, Wolf, the loophole.
It's a glory hole now.
Oh, it's just a giant like meteor crater, right? It's just it's fucked, and now it's.
We apologize to the female viewers for that the sudden metaphors that JPT is choosing to come out with, even though I dropped the last one. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Speaking of
Rangers women got pumped tonight. I shouldn't have mentioned women.
Yep.
Okay. Hopefully that was on the pitch. Yeah. Thank you, JPT, for clearing that up.
But yeah, no. I mean, look, had this been like from any other, has been like Manchester United, Arsenal, Real Madrid, they'll be praising like this is good business. This is like I wish we had people like this. But because it's Chelsea, they can put the tag of, oh, they're cheating, they're doing some shady stuff.
Well, but I mean, we kind of do though.
We do. So does everyone. But we're still falling within the guideline, or at least like the set rules of. Are we breaking FFP or PS or was it PSR?
PSR, yeah.
Are we
FFP, PSR, YMCA, FBI, as I call it?
Is that MIB? For
MIB. what you saw, you did not see. Sorry. Actually, considering no, Will Smith's cocks, man. I need to take that back. I love my guy, but no offense, man. Pinkett, you got to rate Pinkett. She's got him on luck.
Exactly. But
sorry, we'll keep her name out of our mouths. Sorry.
Exactly. But yeah, no. I mean, what about your thoughts? I mean, the opinions about this whole like hotel situation, PSR.
Well, the thing is, offhand, isn't it? It's like I said earlier. It's one of those ones where we are breaking the law. But
you gotta add Chelsea somewhere in there.
Yeah, Chelsea are breaking the law. Breaking the law. Chelsea breaking the law. Chelsea! Blue is the colour. Breaking is our game. We're still cheating. And winning is our... No, we're playing. But on a serious note, I think it's one of those ones where I'm not going to quite use the whole metaphor in the same context that JPT did.
For just the roof?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. No, it's like you said, it's clever businessmen, really, and I think it's the long running fight we're now going to have with the financial authorities. Because back in the day with Abramovich, it was always said we just spent too much money on whatever else anyway. So it's just Chelsea are just money bags. But now we're the ultimate like lowballists, if you know what I mean. And it's because he keeps on getting into problems with the powers that be when it comes to finances. So, and he keeps them finding little loopholes, like you said. Now the problem is when you're a businessman and you're a smart one and you find loopholes like that, the power that bees normally get pissed off at you. So. On Rock's side, yeah, sure. Wolf hit them high pitched notes. Take a bow, son. Yeah, don't worry. You should see me singing, mate. Luther Vandross, watch
Mhm.
out. But yeah. But as I said, I just think because it's one of those ones where it's seen as we're selling it in house to another one of the company, if you like, of the consortium. It's
Right.
literally just seen as us like ducking a loophole. But if it's a legitimate sale and they paid money, then that's
Right.
it. Man, what can we say? What can we say? Now going back to the, we're gonna leave that. I'll ask Prime about that when he comes back. But going back to Saturday's performance. Now, I want to know from JP that he's had time to digest it, and hopefully Notorious when he comes on will give his take, and hopefully he's watched the first half by now. Give me your take on what you saw on Sunday when we did our watch along.
Um, Flat. People say we weren't creating many. I won't even say we're making a lot of chances. It's just that I think Henderson just had a great performance in goal. I mean, 6 saves. Uh, so as a goalkeeper, I mean to hold your head up high. It's he felt it was very early. I don't know. I wouldn't blame. I didn't want to wake up like past or stay up after halftime, and I on a 3 hour difference from Crane. But yeah, first half we could have ended the game if we just beat Henderson. Noni had a great chance, but I think it was just a great save from Henderson. The 1-on-1 from Jackson, which in the second half occurred. There was I can't remember any other clear cut chances we might have had, or arguably clear cut chances. Um,
Well, I was
but
about
we
to say, yeah, I was about to say actually, because yeah, sorry, go on, go on, go on. I'll say what you're gonna say after. Sorry.
I don't know. Sanchez did all right. Defense held up well. Again, another clean sheet gone. So uh, 0 for 3 for clean sheets. Uh, Midfield absent. Still unbalanced without Lavia. I honestly think we might just have to put Cucurella as the DM at this point until Lavia comes back. Um, Attack didn't really get the proper support. I mean, Jackson was only found twice, converted 50% of it, so 1 for 2. Neto was absent. Palmer wasn't really effective. Noni was taking his chances, just not converting as needed. Um, I think the game did improve, or I think we did improve on the attack once Neto came off. Just wasn't having a good game, or at least wasn't getting the ball as often. And besides that, and then of course Eze with took his chance. That might have been their I won't even say their best chance because he put a hell of a curler on that one. But yeah, we just kept them in the game and they took advantage. Luckily, they didn't take too much of their chances afterwards. Even though I think they were arguably the better team for the final 10 minutes. And yeah, took a point, and yeah, just goes to show that even we probably should have capitalized on that Osimhen deal. Uh, But again, if you want to argue that if this was a game of we weren't creating enough chances, then Osimhen wouldn't have made too much of a difference. But I honestly think he would have gotten the game winner, opposed to where Jackson got his shot saved.
Mm. I hear what you said about Usherman, and we'll talk about that later. But ultimately, he weren't there, and he's not our player.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I know what JPT is getting at in the sense of if this guy's going to Galatasaray on loan or wherever else, how comes we couldn't get him on loan? But he would never have come to us on loan. That's the thing. Because we
Yep.
tried to do that approach, but it didn't quite work. Yeah, so I hear what you're saying, but on what you've just said about it looks like, because let me read the stats out for you. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The stats on this game say 13 shots, 7 on target, 63% possession,
Mm-hmm.
590 passes, a pass accuracy of 90%, 4 yellow cards, 9 fouls, 4 corners, no offsides, which is strange. Red cards, zip, obviously. But that was obviously compared to Palace's 9 shots. They had 3 on the target, one of which
Mm-hmm.
they scored. And they had obviously 37% passes, possession of 37%, passes 350 with a pass accuracy of 78%. Now, on paper, sounds quite dominating, doesn't it? When you have things like, I don't know, 63% possession with 13 shots, 7 on target. Now, you mentioned, say, the one-on-one with Jackson, I believe, when you said
Mm-hmm.
about one of those saves.
Mm.
Is that enough, or do you believe, in your opinion, right, does the stats lie there because they weren't clear-cut chances? Or was it one of those ones where, okay, we had one or two scuffed efforts, but the rest of them were just easy half chances, like the Jackson header, for example. You know, when he tries to head it back and it just goes in, and it's just a simple catch. Like,
Right.
did the stats flatter to deceive us, basically?
Um, Not really. I mean, it's. I think yes, you can. It wasn't a dominating performance. It's just that, like I said, Henderson kept him in the game. He had that an opportunity in the first half, or a save in the first half, where there's just no any clear. It was like a close header. Just reacted well in time to keep the ball out, but um, it's just that we need to finish our dinner. It's what we need to do. It's something we've been needing to get done for some time. Big up, coach Chelsea perspective. I'll
I
make sure
know.
to
Big up.
I'll make sure to
Oh
put
yeah, big up, brother.
what is it gonna say? Um, but yeah, no, and also too, it's just I kind of question Maresca in this game because if you remember, Palmer was playing in a much deeper role. He was like playing next to Caicedo from a lot
Yeah,
of
he
the
was.
first half, and I think even going to the second half too. While Enzo was pushing more forward, and I'm like, Enzo's not good as playing higher up the pitch. He needs to be playing around like midfield. As a was it? I'm not sure what the proper term is or the title is, but like a conductive six or like he like a Jorginho role. Um,
Mm. Deep line playmaker would be the
Deep
best
line
term.
playmaker. There you go. That's perfect. Spot on. Deep line playmaker.
That's what Enzo's supposed to be.
But then why is he going up playing like along with the wingers? I don't
I
get.
don't know because he was in. This is the other thing because that guy was in a weird position. He was on the left wing at times as well, and I was just like, "Why are
And you,
you there?"
and you see that it's affecting our chances created because we're pretty much essentially taking Palmer out the game. Arguably our
Yeah,
best player.
yes, and because you just hit the nail on the head before about 5 minutes ago when you said about Pedro Neto, Palmer, Jackson. I think Prime on the day said even like well, as far to say that because Mudryk looked like our best player, it showed how bad everybody else was. So it's there you go. The manager says Chelsea's perspective. Well, maybe it is, bro. Maybe it is. I your thoughts, JPT. How can all of them not have an off day? If you know what I mean.
I guess, but it's just it's weird what this team. I'm not sure if it's more from the board. I'm not sure it's more from the manager. But this role that Enzo is just playing. Well, first of all, I don't even think he should be in our starting 11, and I've said this multiple times over the past couple of weeks. But when Lavia is out, you're limited to who you can have. At this point, I'd rather have Cassidy as alongside with Caicedo, and they suck together. Pause. But I don't know. It's just Enzo's defensive qualities are shit. When he goes up the pitch, he's shit. He needs to be held as a deep line playmaker, as you mentioned. This is where I wish we kind of kept Gallagher, so we can have Gallagher and Caicedo on each side of Enzo, while he can have space to create. And then you can have Conor Gallagher pushing up forward, joining the attack as he was doing last season. But just wishful thinking. I'm not even sure if that would even work. But right now, I just want to see Enzo on the pitch. I have been saying that I think our best formation right now, if when healthy, will be a 4-1-4-1 with Cucurella inverting to play alongside Lavia, and then we have four attacking mids, or two attacking mids and two wingers, and then Nick Jackson up front. But we're just trying to do what we can do, and hopefully they get it together, and hopefully when they come back from international break, they can get no one's picking up an injury, and also we have Lavia coming back. More important, I'd rather have Lavia come back before Reece James does.
Yes.
Because right now, Reece James, if Gusto is not injured, and I hope he isn't after that game, I wouldn't mind having Gusto be our right back. I actually would have Gusto as our right back and then have James as our right center back. And then have him play next to Levi Colwell because Fofana, he still has that rust with him where he's keeping people on side, and it almost happened um, in the first half, I believe, or no, second half. And the only reason why it wasn't is just because I think it was the right winger was just that much offside, but Lavia was just little
Yeah,
behind
yeah.
everyone else.
Offside trap blatantly failed. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
and I don't know what it is. Maybe he needs to be playing in the Europa Conference games opposed to the likes of Tosin or Disasi or whoever is playing that role. But right now, we need this defense fixed up. We need and again another option or another part of the 11 that the owners did not address in their 4 window plan, which involved getting a top striker. Did not get that. Getting a top defenders. We did not get that. Who did we get in that time? Tosin on a free. We got
No one of experience ready made that's gonna
nope. In general,
rattle
yeah,
it.
pretty much some because we got Disasi, Barrier Shield, hoping that the Monaco brothers would work, but didn't. That's a utter failure.
The Monaco
Um,
brothers.
and arguably, I think our best signing recently for defense, if not Gusto, then Vega. And we're just hoping that Vega
Yeah,
is a
he looked
2.0.
okay when he came on the other day, but I've never seen this guy start, and it's hard to say how Vega's going to settle in because that's why Chilwell was finished, wasn't it? Because apparently that was going to take his spot, and Cucurella was going to be our main left back. But
Mm.
it's I'm sad because in terms of like that, the way your analysis there is quite spot on. Because even with what we have, like this may go back to system again, but I think me and you, we've been since the last 2, 3, 4 weeks, we've been talking about the defense and saying about just how simply unbalanced it is. And when you see the protection or the lack of protection, when it's just Momo by himself trying to tackle and sweep up, it's one of those ones where do you really think Lavia makes that much difference? Do you think he's the key to all this, like with a proper like double pivot? And where does that leave Enzo? Because I know me and you both see like that guy. I don't know what quite his job is in this team. I'm a little
Enzo?
bit, yeah.
I really don't know. When we brought him, I was like, okay, well, we found our replacement for Jorginho, but uh, we're not even using him in that way.
No, we haven't.
It's it's also to go back on the chat, big up blue board analysis. Beat us up a few minutes ago. So we gotta make sure everyone that's tuning in is getting addressed. Coach, honestly, we don't necessarily need a striker, even a CB. Okay, I can maybe understand with the striker, but as far for CB, if Kobo or Fofana pick up an injury, then we're going to rely on the likes of Badiashile as a left center back option. And if he's struggling against Servette, respectfully to Servette, what is he going to do when he goes against Liverpool, City, Arsenal, Villa, Spurs, the High Line? He can't really keep up. And the only thing he's good with, as you mentioned, set pieces. His height, great. Sassi, he only shows up versus City, and then everything else he goes to shit. Tosin, still the jury's still out on Tosin. And as far as for striker, yeah, but we don't really have a natural striker, and I think the only one really is Giyu.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, I was going to bring up about João Felix.
There we go, João Felix. I thought he was more of a second striker.
Yeah, this is what I'm about to say. We've got plenty of people that play there, but none of the natural there. Because in terms of actually people we can play as striker, we've actually got quite a rich range of options. We've got Detro Fofana, we've got João Felix, we've got Jackson, we got Nkuku, we've got Guy. Who else we could play up top? Palmer's been deployed as a false 9 at times. I think even Neto has done it once or twice for Wolves. Enzo is the one that keeps our midfield ticking. The game against Wolves exemplifies his importance. I hear you, but Wolves didn't quite give us the midfield battle that Palace did. And I'm not being funny on that. I'm not disproving what you say, but does that mean he's what a team we play when we go against lesser teams that don't try to play a low block? Is he a team? Is he a player that we only play against teams that come at us? Because I don't know what your thoughts on this are, Chelsea's perspective. If you'd like to join us, you can. But it's definitely one of those ones where I think, I think it's more the system, to be honest. Jerry out. Big up TT. Chelsea Sessions in the building. How you doing, brother? Hope you're well. If you want to come on, do let me know. Or if both of you want to come on. JPT, stick the link in your chat.
I already did.
And I'll stick the link in my chat. And if you boys want to join us, we can. Well, you can. You can. There you go. There's TT's channel, people. Lovely guy. Big up to him. And there's the link if you two boys want to jump in as well. I'm still half expecting Prime, but
yeah, I'm not sure.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
No, don't worry.
Yeah,
Jerry out. Well, TT out. TT takes the money out of my pocket, literally.
Make sure to subscribe to his Patreon. Anyone watching, he's got his Patreon all fully loaded. Once I get like these, got some like big bills to take care of for September. But once September's passed, I can subscribe to his Patreon. So TT, I'll make sure to keep an eye out once.
Or just sign up to his YouTube like we did. I'm sorry about that. Oops, that jumped. Because how the patron. What? Say what? Oh, there you go. That was your fault, JPT.
Yeah. I might not see all the people you're mentioning.
Because there's two feeds, Chelsea perspective. There's my feed and there's JPT's feed. There's two channels.
Yeah. If anything, just Coach, go to. I'll put Wolf's channel up here. So to jump on. But yeah, as long as you drop a like and for my stream, as well as everything else is appreciated.
It's up to me.
There you go. Of course.
Sorry. I was too big-headed, and I've got a lot of a big head. But anyway, yeah. So me and just truth be told about this. Okay, is it now? Are we looking at this now? I was wondering if the coach blocked me because I wasn't seeing his on Wolves' own. No, mate. No. Just to confuse don't confuse everybody. Just JPT's chat and there's my chat. So, this is a 2-channel thing because it's Blues Brothers. So, the two become one, you know what I mean? So, some of us are in JPT's stream, some of us are in my feed. So, if you want to, if you're in JPT's stream and you want to like sandwich together into one magnificent bunch, then please do. Because it doesn't matter to me because it all comes up on the right hand side here. But if anyone's trying to keep track of the conversation amongst the chat, please, there are too. Now I see the coach's comments. That's because they're on this screen. No joking. Faithless become one. Yeah, I can't get no sleep. Sorry. But anyway, back to it. So over the last couple of weeks, JPT, me and you have spoken a lot about the defense and. Well, now we're looking at the attack more specifically. You fucking bitch. What the hell is this? Don't sub to Wolfie. He sells drugs to the homeless. Yeah. She's my drug dealer. She's the one who supplies me. What a bitch. I blocked TT. Hello, TY, sorry. Hello. Hey. Sorry. I'm the left eye, you're the right. Wouldn't it be wrong for us to fight? Yeah, I know. Hey. Well, she fucking started it, all right? Bitch. Anyway. Yeah, exactly, T. You tell her, T. We're just, okay, we're not going to make this the Rosie show, but yeah. Wow, exactly. Yes, drugs to the homeless. You heard it. I haven't. Oh, my. DJ Crane's gone full faithless insomnia in the fucking chat. Anyway, but going back to it. So, and I want to hear from the Chelsea fans in the chat as well. Are we now looking at this system and starting to have second thoughts and doubts, or you know what I mean? Does it still need more time? Because me personally, I'm with Chelsea perspective. I think it's a system problem. And you know, I've been saying over the last couple of weeks how there's not enough protection for the back four. You just mentioned about the high line. We're asking essentially centre backs to almost play out wide. Like it's kind of like the old Barcelona system when Paulio and them like used to slide into the sides and become like a triple anchor with the last midfielder. But we just simply can't do it. Our midfield doesn't know how to control games like that Barcelona midfield do. So I want your take on it. Is it the system or is it the players?
Um, I honestly do. I do think it is a system. We are making a drastic change from Poch to Enzo Maresca's system, but and these players are still very young to even what was I gonna say to even know like to hone their craft. They're still all a majority are still under the age of 25. Um, but I also gotta see too like I also think it's with the players we have available. Um, because like I said, once Lavia was out, I think our midfield became really unbalanced, and we didn't know who to look to on in the midfield, in that double pivot role. Which is why I think we should steer clear from the double pivot role, um, until he comes back. Because right now it's like I said, it's Enzo, Moises, uh, Cesare Cassidy, Kieran Dewsbury Hall, and I think that is it. Those are our four options that are available from the bench. And that's not
Mm,
really it's not really a balance uh, or balanced options to be honest.
uh, this is the Unai Emery system. Score loads, let loads in. Let's call it a tune system. Okay, that's very interesting. Maresca reminds me of Pochettino, adamant to use his system when all the personnel isn't competent for it. Yes, I do agree with that. I do, yeah. I do believe TT's kind of backed onto what I'm saying here in the sense of these guys don't know because how to play out wide or how to play further up the pitch. Because with us, we've always been a very narrow and
Hmm.
squeezed in team. And the fact when you're asking a bunch of centre backs to push up the pitch and wants to become like secondary midfielders, is it their awareness of the role which is the problem, or is it a skill ability, like a skill thing? They just simply aren't attuned to it, adept to it. You know what I mean? Because you said you said about the Enzo, Enzo being replaced by Lavia and the Concedo and Lavia pivot looking better. Why do you think they look better?
Why? Which pivot looks better?
Why is the Lavia and Concedo pivot better than the Enzo one, in your opinion?
Because we need help we need support for our defense up front because I'm trying to think. I think the Kovacic goal, Eze goal, I think arguably even yeah, both goals. I think from Wolves. Uh, we just didn't have support in front of our back line, and we just looked vulnerable. I mean, we could have taken a goal away from I think it was the second goal. No, the first goal away uh, from Wolves had Enzo been a proper like defensive mid and like Lavia
With the
and
second one, yeah, he's definitely stabbing at the ball before they shoot, and the guy just can't tackle for shit.
was that the second one? I thought that was the first one.
Yeah, when he has like four bites at it and he doesn't
Yeah.
come away with the ball either time. So yeah, that's the second goal because you
Hmm.
literally see him chase him down the pitch, occasionally swinging his foot at him, and it's just like, nah, dude, you're not getting anywhere near the ball. You're not, and it's kind of pathetic, really, because it's even physically when he was trying to like bump him off, it was just like it's not happening, bro.
Yeah,
Nah.
and the Kovacic goal too. I mean, after Caicedo loses the ball, Enzo just barely makes any real effort to win the ball back. And then I'm not sure if really if Lavia could have helped prevent the goal for Crystal Palace, but again,
Well, the
not the
second one
best
I think he would
clearance.
because Lavia is a lot bigger than what Enzo is. And I got a feeling if he like rammed into, because he's quite a big lad, is Lavia. So if he rams into you, you're gonna know about it. Obviously, he's got to be smart and not foul you, but it only takes 5 games for an expert analysis to see the issue. You don't need 30 games to recognize them. That's where elite experts can identify problems early. And what particular example of problem are you trying to refer to there, Blue Board analysis? Let me know, because
I would say 5 Prem games at least. I won't even count the Servette games because those aren't even our strongest.
Well, I tell you what, I'm not counting. With me, right? Okay, I know a lot of people say it doesn't matter because it's pre-season, but I'm not even gonna. And I said this to JPT. I was panicking before the season even started because I was watching us when we were playing. Because one thing about it is, right, you won't get the full article from pre-season, but you will get a good idea of what you're gonna get in pre-season. And the thing is, like when we were playing against bigger teams, you could see it. They were analyzing what we were doing on the pitch. Like the Real Madrid game was a classic because literally we went at Madrid, they went on at us, then we went at Madrid, and then when they went at us, and then Madrid adapted to how we were playing and started playing more wide, and then they just started controlling the ball, and that's when they scored. So no, I'm talking about the fact you said Poch, Tuchel, etc. would have us in the season in a promoting state. Well, it's all what ifs, isn't it, gentlemen? Do you believe that a Poch or a Tuchel would not be having? I don't think Poch would be in this problem or Tuchel would be in this problem because Tuchel would have been in his like 3rd or 4th season and well up and running. And to be honest, Poch. Okay, I know a lot of players hated him because of his training methods, and a lot of Chelsea fans didn't like him, including myself, because of his past Spurs history. But the midfield problems and stuff, he kind of worked them all out already. So and we did improve defensively last year as well. To be fair, in the second half of last season, we got better because I think JPT what the problem is, and why you mentioned like, the mention of Connor for me is important, is because there is actually truly no one in that team that hunts the ball, and Connor did that. That's why he was good to have Conceição around him, or him around Conceição, because Conceição would try and drop back where Connor would go out and press. Enzo doesn't press, and if he does, sometimes it's ineffective. And Conceição, I've never really seen Conceição press. He always drops back to transfer, and I think it was majority playing right back on Sunday anyway. So because Gusto got injured quite early, didn't he? So because let's not forget, Gusto did get injured.
Was it with at the 60th minute or was it before the first half ended?
No, I think it was in the first half.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he got subbed off at second half, but he was looking uncomfortable walking off.
In my opinion, putting an inexperienced manager in charge is a hindering or likely to hindering. Our process toward a top finish. Poch should have been replaced with an upgrade. I fully agree with that. I think all of us pretty much said that because of the way Poch, you either go up on what you get in Poch, because realistically, even from Poch now, we've downgraded. I agree with that analysis because you've got me and JPT kind of spoke about this as well the other day about this guy barely got out of the championship.
Yep.
It was by 1 point. 1 point. And they lost like 11, 12 games. So I don't know quite what that Todd Brody and them not saw in this guy, to be fair. Neither would have struggled because they would have worked from the back but that's the current state right now. So it makes sense to be bursting your gum on it. A lot of poor decisions have happened. Yes, they have. They have.
I honestly think they're just trying to find the next big thing, and I don't want to say yes man, but people that won't question authority as much. Yeah, and there wasn't, and that's why I wasn't happy when you have the likes. We could have had Hansi Flick. Whether or not people rate him or not, if they have their bias against him, fine. But you can't tell me that Flick isn't more qualified, or is underqualified compared to Maresca.
Big up TT in the building. All right, maybe he's not in the building.
You hear?
Oh, there he is.
There you go.
Oh, there he is. Big up, brother.
You're going to hear echoes.
That's
It's
fine.
fine. It's not too bad. I can hear it a little bit, yeah, but it's not too bad, brother. Do me a favor. You're probably like when it comes to the Chelsea analyst, you're probably the Chelsea analyst I would go to, because when I say this guy goes in when he's an analysis of players, he goes in. So, right, I don't want you to be too emotional on this one, TT, but give me your analysis of what you saw against Palace on Sunday.
I saw a team that didn't know what to do when the pressure continued to build from Palace. That's what I saw. And then after conceding very early on in the second half, still tried to get opportunities, created opportunities and couldn't finish them. But the problem is the same problem I would have expected and mentioned in the past. The fact is and what I would have commented before coming on is that managers like Tuchel would have ensured that he built from the back going up to the front. And unfortunately, that would have given him the nickname of Two Show, because we would usually win games by 2 goals when he could have won by more. And obviously, there was instances where we would have won by a higher margin. But in terms of what we've seen so far into the system, it's obvious that it's just utilizing a system that could work if you had players who are accustomed to playing, and as you said, with the approach being wider. Usually, it's a narrow approach. Even Pochettino would have, slightly had a narrow approach where the
That's what
players
I
are.
said, because that's the one thing that's a lot of people don't realize how drastically different Enzo is compared to everybody else. Because when we used to have a defensive back five, if you like, when we had the two wing backs, and the three centre backs would be very close together, and they wouldn't go all the way up. They'd be probably on the edge of the centre circle together, so they could all come back. But now you could just see the space in between them. Like it's huge. Like you got one guy virtually in the DM role, you got one guy virtually in wing back left, and one guy virtually in wing back right. And when they have to, there's too many ways around them, if you know what I mean. Because you can go around them, you can just a decent 1-2, and you're through them.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing. So that's one of the biggest issues, because when you look, and as you just said, when you look at the contrast with Tuchel and well, you can say somewhat that Enzo tried to utilize a 3-man defense when you're on the ball, so it's like a 3-2-5 and then 2-3-5 when you're attacking, where you have more attacking options trying to push them so forward on a counter. But the issue is when you have that level of space, and that's why I've always said this. Disjointed has become a word that I've used too many times that I don't like. The midfield and defense, there's such a big gap that, as you said, it takes our team just the other to 1-2 pass here and then through it on and on to the goalkeeper, and that's because the midfield is left to spread out, so you can have a little pass there, and then you try to push the ball up the field. It's not a case where you try to hold the tempo, you try to be possessive, because people say that we play slow, which in some instances it's slow, but the problem is not that it's slow. The problem is that the players are so spread out and they're so wide, almost sort of like Pep a while ago, but they're so wide that you have to be expanding the ball towards them. And that's one of the reasons why some of the passes don't go off, because you're having to expand the range of the passes, and then that leads to teams being able to intercept or deflect them into the path of their teammates. So it's a case where the system is so unique. It's so, I don't even know what else to describe it as, but it's a system where if you're not able to make a good pass, the team's going to struggle. And we've seen that happen with, for example, Badashini in the defense. Or sometimes, I think it was Jurgensen or Sanchez, I don't know how we conceded one of the goals. I think it was against Servette, it's probably Jurgensen, where the pass was made and then it just goes straight
last Thursday. You're talking about last Thursday. That's when you're talking about last Thursday.
Right. Right. So and that's the problem. And I think opportunity for Palace came from from another mistake very similar to that. I think it was a defender. I don't remember which one it was, but they made a pass and they're trying to make it into, I think it was Casado or Enzo, one of the two. And that midfielder got dispossessed. And then Palace got a shot off and they went wide. So that is the issue. If you're not able to make the passes go to exactly to the player that you wanted to go to, then the team's going to struggle. And that's exactly what happened against it was at Leicester City. A lot of the times the passes would work out at times, but then sometimes the team would get they would be able to predict what would happen next, and that led to them, being able to get the ball back and then get a chance of for probably score. So as you said, Maresca's journey back up to the Premiership with Leicester City, it wasn't perfect. But at the same time, I do think it's important to consider that that team was worse off than what it was the season prior. They lost Madison and all of that, and they didn't really um, get such replacements that would really help that midfield. So Dewsbury Hall standing out is not surprising because that midfield was filled with players like Ndidi being given a more advanced role rather than a defensive role, and his responsibility is to try to get more goals on his tally. So that midfield was not really working in a functional way, and then we see that at Chelsea where you're supposed to be having even Enzo trying to be an offensive outlet, or you see Casado trying to be the one that sits deep and then sometimes pushing forward. So it's a case where the system just is all over the place. And that's what I said. It reminds me of Pochettino, where Pochettino would have tried to use his philosophy, use his principles for most of the season because he saw it work somewhat in preseason. And then when the injuries constantly kept happening, he continued to do it. And then he only changed it in the latter parts where you saw a more relaxed team where Kukurea was inverting and all that, and then you had more of a support, and then you had the defense and the midfield being close linked. With Maresca, it's completely different. It's a case where the midfield is so high up, and then the defense is so high up that you can't get a connectivity there. It's a case of trying to extend the ball to them and then try to push up the field, and it doesn't work in the Premier League especially, and it doesn't work when you have players who perhaps were not known for being ball playing players. So there's a lot of issues that are there. So I think the system needs some altering. I understand what Maresca is trying to do, but the players can't do it. And the more you try to do it, in a competitive sense, it's going to take a lot of trial and error, and fans are not ready to wait for that, especially if we finish lower than six.
Well, do you believe they can do it full stop? And I'll ask both of you that question. The system that Enzo is trying to, I don't think it can. Because the level of ball playing you want from everybody, how can I put this? It's a team that relies on individual brilliance too much. Is that a way of putting it? Because you're never going to get out of 10 passes that everyone, okay, I appreciate the Premier League players, so you would expect 7, 8 of them passes to be on point, but everyone has a margin of error. So do you believe that it's a failing system and it's never going to work, or do you believe over time that it will? And I'll shove that at JPT first.
I think we need to get our best 11 more familiar with each other. First name Buchanans. So I just saw what Crane wrote, but yeah, I think this group of young players need to become more familiar with each other. It's kind of hard when we have a giant rotating door because constantly spinning and spinning. As far as individual brilliance, I think maybe so for up front.
Big up, JK.
But defensively, I mean, I don't know if it's a system failing the defense, but yeah, yeah, just that's just what I think. I think it's more so that we need to get more gel together.
Yeah, big up, JK. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good.
Just before I chuck that question over to TT, let me ask you, man, what did you make of the performance that you saw against Crystal Palace?
To be fair, I like the first half, but the second half, I wasn't a big fan of the second half, really. To be fair, the performance was okay. I saw good one touch passes, basically what we want from a system, right? But unfortunately we couldn't really take our chances. And one thing I'm worried about, I'm actually not. I'm going
TT,
to be
hang on,
quite.
1 minute, Jackie. TT,
Yeah.
just wait a minute, just chill for a second, okay? I don't know why you got to drop out, but everyone's cool here at the minute, so just hold
Yeah,
on, and
yeah.
we'll just. You ain't got to drop out, brother.
It's all calm
No,
here.
you don't. It's
It's all
calm.
calm.
Everything's blessed, man. You ain't got to worry about that, man. There's no arguing or fighting here, man. Don't watch that, man. Everyone's just
Just
blessed.
opinions.
Oh no. To be fair, I'm not really in for any arguments. It's calm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just
Exactly. So,
my thing's just gonna be very quite short, and then yeah. To be fair, I need to go and do something, but yeah, I'm not gonna be long with this one. To be fair, I like the first half. I just think we just missed a lot of chances, the attackers. And the second half it was completely different. And there's a thing I want to say. Just like last season, I hope we don't get into the habit of having one good half or having one bad second half, or one. Do you know what I'm saying? Because if I'm gonna be honest, we had it with Wolves as well. We didn't really play that well. Remember the first half? Wolves were bopping us about.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? But
well, trust me, Hang on 1 minute. TT, try interviewing a world champion, like mixed martial artist, on one of your very first interviews, bro. Trust me, I interviewed
lol,
Terence Bellello, man, EFC, welterweight champion at the time, and I shit myself, man. Just
L-
relax, brother.
Lord Ty, I don't really argue on panels. That's the funny thing. Lol. So don't worry. I don't bite. I won't bite. It's calm.
Oh, you
But
don't? All right, no, you can go then, Jake.
Yeah,
I only like biters, bro.
he doesn't
Lord,
bite. That's funny.
Hey
I
I'm just
only.
yo.
saying.
Hey, yo, TY is
No,
the
just for
next big
Ty's
thing,
sake.
of course.
Just for Ty's sake, I won't bite. You know what I'm
All
saying?
right, fair enough. Ty is the next, bro. He's a big thing already. We're just waiting for everybody else to realize it. To be
Yeah,
honest, everybody.
I know. I
relax,
like Ty's
Loki.
analysis actually. I like his opinions because I actually agree with him more from what he said earlier. To be fair, about Maresca's system being so expansive. There's
But that
two
was me.
things you need to.
That's what I
Or,
said at the
or,
first. But he built on it great though.
yes, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. There's two things you need to realize about expansive football. Is that one, it requires a lot of individual excellence. If I'm
That's
gonna
what I
be
just
honest
said.
with you,
Yes, it
because if
does.
you play football, if everyone's just so spread out, for example, like the wingers, there's a reason why you call our wingers touchline wingers, because they're not directly in like inside, but they're close to the touchline. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're as
Hence
wide as they
why,
can be. Exactly. Yeah.
exactly, hence why we limit the amount of times we actually kick the ball out of play in possession. Do you know what I'm saying? The thing is about that football, the whole point is try to expand the back line, expand our opponent. Do you know what I'm saying? Although most of the time they don't really do that. But there's one problem I have with that is that if you do not have the individual excellence in your team, then it's going to be quite difficult to build on that quickly. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at Manchester City, they can get away with this sort of expansive football they play under Pep because one, they have good passes of the ball. Secondly, to go to their receiver if they're far away, they've got the ability to dribble past or control the ball. Do you know what I'm saying? Go past the midfield. Also, there's also another thing about expansive football as well, is that you need to have the energy for when you're out of possession, you need to make sure that everyone this is the problem. How should I explain this? If you watch Chelsea games, you realize we're not good under possession because once we lose the ball, the receiver is already, let's say, close to our back line, which means the midfield will not really have time to run back. Do you know what I'm saying? Because everyone's already up because we're so the I'm not saying, for example, like Maresca out or anything. This is not me having a go at Maresca, but bro, if I'm gonna be honest, this is something we should build on like time. I feel like expansive football right now, there's certain personnel that really, really suit that. For example, there was someone on Twitter who said, let's play Palmer on the right. It would work in Poch's system because with his sort of wingers are more different. They're more like to cut in. Do you know what I'm saying? Maresca's system, Palmer is not a touchline winger. We all need to know that. Do you know what I'm saying? He's normally a prolific winger. He'll be more of a prolific winger slash creating, which means he needs to be more in the box often. He needs to get into the box how often. Do you know what I'm saying? So if I'm gonna be honest with you, this is the sort of thing I don't think we completely. Most of our players don't really have the ability to play expansive football. Do you know what I'm saying? But for now, we just need to give it time. Do you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I don't know about you guys.
That's why
Wait,
I ask everyone's opinion. Yeah, no, that's why I ask everyone's opinion and to see what everyone else thinks. Because I'll drop Prime because Prime was with us that second half. Did you have a chance to rewatch that first half like you wanted?
I watched highlights. Yeah. What's the question?
No, I was about to say, what did you make of the performance now that you've got a general gist of how we played first and second half on Sunday?
I think we should have won the game. We created enough. We didn't create enough chances for Jackson to take, but I think everyone else had chances that they should have taken to win the game. Madueke had some chances, for example, that he should have put away, like in the first half. And Palace, up until their first goal, didn't really threaten us, didn't really provide any threat towards us. And then when they scored, because I don't trust this defense, I had this worrying feeling of they're going to get a winner, Ultimately, we just need to learn how to kill off games. Because if we had scored a second after we got our first goal, or maybe even scored a third, Palace don't get that sort of like confidence to fight back into the game. That's the thing when you play lesser sides, you need to kill them off quickly. Because if you don't, the more they grow into the game, the more the game stays like 1-0 they're losing or 1-1. They gain that confidence to get back into the game. So that's how I look at it. In terms of what JK was saying about wingers and stuff, I agree. That's why I kept telling people that Palmer can't play as a winger in this system. With Maresca, his wingers need to be able to hug the flanks. They need 1v1 threat. Palmer and Nkuku can't do that. But under Poch, where his wingers are allowed to kind of float around a bit, it works in that sort of system. In terms of what I heard, what you were saying earlier, Wolfie, about Maresca. Yeah, I think he is an upgrade on Poch. I think he's a massive upgrade on Poch.
That was in the comments. That was in the comment. I read that out. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think he is a massive upgrade on Poch. I just think like people just need to realize there's going to be growing pains this season because this system we're learning is very like weird and unique, and we also have players in the squad that like have to adapt to the system, or maybe ultimately won't be good enough and they'll be sold in the next like summer or so. So like we just need to kind of go through the growing pains with this, and I'm okay with that, to be fair. So
well, over the last few minutes, maybe the last 10 minutes, we've been talking about the system being too wide and too open. Is that something you might agree with, or do you literally believe like you just need better players?
Too wide and too open in what aspect? You mean defensively?
Well, yeah. Well, generally speaking, because we're used to playing as a very narrow team, aren't we? So it's one of those ones where is Luca there?
I don't necessarily. I mean, I guess I kind of get what you're saying, but like it's twofold, right? Like Maresca, as the season goes on, he will make tactical tweaks to things, right? But we also need better players. Like there's only so much a manager can do to a certain extent, anyway. So I guess we'll see as the season goes on.
You know what? I agree with Prime. You know what? It's also with the players as well. With expansive football, I also said it also depends on the individual as well. If you look at the midfield, if they're playing so expansive, they need to make proper passes to their players, whether it's on the right hand side or even forward. Do you know what I'm saying? And the thing is, because the teams we play, no, because Prime, because the teams we play like to man mark each of our players while in possession
one second,
at times. Also, we can see whilst we play out from the back so slow, the team will start to come out of their shell a bit more. Do you know what I'm saying? which means if they're able to man mark our midfielders, it could be long. Which is
which is
why
why we need to kill off games. It's like I keep saying,
it's
we need to kill them off quickly. And also,
yeah.
I don't think we're meant to be so expansive. Our midfielder's not meant to be so wide and open.
I'm not
I
saying our
think the reason-
midfield, but I'm
I
just
think
saying
no, no, I get what you're saying. My point is the reason why I looked like that, like I think everyone's talking about the Wolves game. The reason why I looked like that is because in that game we lacked an actual defensive midfielder. We lacked a pivot player that can break up play and dictate the tempo of our game.
Well, that's
Against
what you see with that
Man City, and against Wolves, like again, two very different games in terms of we lost against the best team arguably in the world, and we battered Wolves quite easily, particularly in the second half. We had Lavia in that midfield that controlled our midfield and controlled our flow. We missed Lavia massively. Everyone keeps talking about Caicedo and Enzo. Caicedo and Enzo are good at very particular attributes. Like Enzo, we know he's good on the ball. Caicedo, we know he's brilliant at being able to roam around and break up play. But none of them are actual stable midfielders that can sit and dictate our tempo. We massively miss Lavia. And hopefully he can stay fit for the majority of the season so that he can actually protect our defense and allow us to actually play our football. Because I have massive question marks on Enzo Fernandez, by the way, as a like.
I was just about to say that. Strangely enough, right? Judging by what everyone is saying, including myself, because I was very critical of Enzo on Sunday, particularly for that second, for Wolves' second. Well, no, not was it. Who was it that he was trying to like literally run at the pass?
The goal we conceded. Because I think I know what Wolfie's going to talk about.
He's
Palace
literally trying to tackle the guy 5 times and it doesn't happen.
Like the goal we conceded against Kovacic's goal. That goal was conceded after Lavia went off. By the way, you know how Kovacic was able to spin around Caicedo and Enzo. If Lavia was in there, he would have taken Enzo out or taken Kovacic out, and then either would have been like a free kick or whatever, or he would have won the ball.
Yeah, tactical foul. He's not brave enough.
Wolves' second goal again. They go through Caicedo and Enzo. The goal we conceded against Palace was because we weren't able to clear the ball out from their set piece, and ultimately Eze was able to cut in and bend it in. Those 3 goals I'm just mentioning are a lack of a stable midfield presence to win the ball or control the midfield.
A true ball winner.
So I've been saying
exactly, and again, like I think Caicedo has a place in this team, to be fair, but like Enzo, I don't know where he fits. He can't sit deeper because he has no defensive awareness.
I'm sorry to bring it up.
He can't play further forward because he's not 10. I don't know. And again, we'll see. Again, because it's only a few games. That's why I want to give it more time. I want to see as the season progresses where certain players actually fit in and where certain players thrive. Because this is a very weird system. It's not as if we're playing a back 3 with wing backs. We're not playing with like a 2 DMs and a 10. We're not playing like a 4-3-3. We're not playing a false 9. We're playing a very strange system that the only team in the world that plays it's Man City, and they are the best team in the world. So like we can't really look at specifically how they do it because no one can match them.
Well, does that mean Enzo's in trouble then? And I'll ask everyone, does this
mean... I don't think necessarily that he's in trouble. I just think that we actually need more
when I say Enzo, I don't mean Enzo Mascara. I mean Enzo Fernandez. Is he in trouble?
Probably, yeah. Well,
yes and no.
But what we're still saying isn't this what is kind of like spinning around that he's the £100 million flop.
Well, we'll see, because there's other people at Chelsea fans I talk to, and they'll tell me that Enzo fits into this team, and the problem is Caicedo. So ultimately, I don't know. Well, like that's why I say we'll see. Like come the end of or even come by like say January, halfway through the season, we will have like a sample size of what's working and what's not working, and Maresca will have a sample size. Maresca, like people can say what they want about him being from the Championship. He's a very intelligent man. The guy's like, he has talent ID and he knows football. If he sees things aren't working, I'm going to hope he's going to have to change it. He will. He will adapt certain things. And you've seen it. At Leicester, he was playing like a 2-man, essentially a 2-man pivot with a lone midfielder like a ball distributor in Winks, and then he had an inverted fullback. At Chelsea, we've seen, including the start of the season and preseason, he's played with a midfield diamond.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's certain things that he's like learning and improving and adapting. So like eventually, like we just need to give it some time. I get Chelsea fans are impatient, but like we do need to give something time eventually. Like even Poch, like if he had stayed, we need to give him time. So like someone needs to get time. If Maresca goes, the next manager needs to get time, right? So you have to give someone time eventually.
Well,
So,
I'm,
yeah.
with this particular part, I'm focusing on Enzo Fernandez and not the manager now. So I'm going to ask TT, what's your thoughts on Enzo Fernandez, bro? Does this guy have a future or not at Chelsea? What's your thoughts on this? If he's still there, I don't know. He might have passed out from Prime's last speech, from what he's been saying in the chat. So I'll ask JK then. JK, what do you feel about Enzo Fernandez if you're there? Because everyone's got
If I'm gonna be honest with you,
Please be
I'm
honest.
just gonna make a point quickly. I don't really care if anyone doesn't like it, but last season under Pochettino, I've always been an Enzo stan. If I'm gonna be honest with you, to be fair, I did see some performances in there, but like you know what, if I'm gonna be honest with you, is what it is. I always backed him, but then last season I saw something. The thing is, when we played Gallagher and Caicedo together, they had two things in common. Although Gallagher might not have the technical aspect in the midfield, he had the urge off the ball. Do you know what I'm saying? Which helped us a lot when progressing in attack.
Yeah, he
Do you
pressed
get what
and
I'm
hunted the
saying?
ball, and he ran with the
That's
ball.
the thing.
Yeah,
That's the thing. And also Caicedo had it as well. Although he could be rational with his tackles, at least we will win a ball back eventually. You know what I'm saying? The problem is this. I've been saying this in like the past 2-3 streams. If the midfield does not have the urge, aggressiveness to win the ball back, or is very, very slow, does not have the energy in a pivot, then you're going to struggle off the ball. And you're going to get caught wide open from opposition fans. Just look at our preseason, for example. The way Celtic managed to get 3-4 balls into the box before they could score, it just showed you it all started from the midfield. They had so much space. Like
well, even the Palace game was the same because
even the
was it
Palace,
like a
the Palace one was the
the
same.
seventh ball in, like because it was like a second ball, then it was like a third, fourth, fifth.
That as
We
well.
just couldn't clear the
Mateo
lines.
Kovacic goal was also yes, I know
Same
Robert
thing.
Sanchez, he made a mistake. But if I'm gonna be honest, the midfield could have closed him down, but it didn't. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not to be fair, Enzo Fernandez, I don't know, he can be let's say he can be good on the ball. The problem is this. He's inconsistent on the ball, but he's horrible off the ball. That's what I've realized. He's so horrible off the ball, very, very, very slow. It's so easy to beat him in transition. It's like these Enzo and Caicedo can't play together. Do you know what I'm saying?
They
But I see
can't.
They
Caicedo play.
cannot
Yeah,
at all.
I see Gallagher play next to Caicedo. It works. I see Lavia play next to next to Caicedo when it works. Do you know what I'm saying? And the thing is this: if you do not have at least the aggressiveness of the ball in the system like this, at least be okay on the ball. The problem is what I've been seeing from Enzo on the ball. He's not even that good either. Do you know what I'm saying? He will give passes here and there. If I'm going to be honest, I've also seen him. Yes, he's done good passes. You know the problem is this. Once he receives these good passes, I've realized all his good passes have been missed from either Jackson. So he hasn't got the luck with that. Do you know what I'm saying? Because he would have been getting like 4 assists. If you remember, this the semi-final against City last season. He actually it was him that gave that ball to Jackson. He missed it about 5 times. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the thing is this, like I genuinely think he needs to stay on the bench and work on his sort of movement off the ball. If he needs
Quality
the
on the ball,
treadmill,
yeah.
yes. Do you know what I'm saying?
The-
Because if I'm gonna
this
be
is the thing.
honest, this Enzo Fernandez, I don't think he's fit. He's fit enough to
You're
be
right about Enzo not having like any of his traits off the ball. The
yeah.
thing with Enzo is, um, there's something that Igal said about Enzo, which again is like very like obvious. It's not any profound knowledge. He was talking about Enzo being a luxury player and how if Enzo was in a better team, like you'd see the best out of him, which I kind of agree. If Enzo was in a team like Man City, which the way Man City play, they give like how do I word this?
So but
When-
like
The way Man
City
City
they've got
play,
like a
the way
role.
City, hold on, the way City play, like for example KDB, it seems like whenever KDB's on the ball, he always has 10 seconds to pick his pass and do what he wants
They make
because he's
space for him.
afforded that sort of freedom. He's
Makes
given that
space.
sort of space. Like Enzo is, I'm not saying he's KDB, but he's that sort of player where he needs that couple of extra seconds. But the way we're set up currently, or the way we're still trying to learn as a squad and even as a manager, like we can't give him that sort of freedom and space yet. He
So that
doesn't
means
get that sort of
that means
freedom and
Enzo
space yet.
Fernandez
So I think he
is
needs to.
Sterling Mark II then. Because people used to
He's
say the
what?
same thing. He's Sterling Mark II. Because people used to say that was the same thing about Sterling. In a more complete team, he'd give you a better output.
Enzo's a luxury player in the midfield.
Well, yeah,
Exactly.
he is a well, yeah. It's obvious he's a luxury player in the midfield. That's why we bought him. But like ultimately, we're
He's
not
a-
good enough. We're not good enough. We're not good enough
Look
as a
up
team
here.
to. We're not good enough as a team yet to
Yeah.
give him that luxury. You know. So I think with Enzo, I don't know. He needs to learn to be better off the ball, or Chelsea need
Big up,
to
Ross.
make better with his chances when he does give us that outlet. Because against City, for example, remember that ball he gave to Gusto on the right flank against City in the second half? Gusto made a cross in the box, and I think no one met it until Neto did when the ball was like basically went out of
It was
play.
almost out. It was if we had
Yeah.
just a faster reaction, I think it was.
Enzo was trying to make that pass like 3-4 times that game before that Gusto chance, before that Gusto cross. Like,
Mhm.
but he couldn't play that ball because he was either getting pressed or there was no one on that right flank to meet that ball. So ultimately, like, I think we need better. I don't know. I just think with more time, we will eventually end up seeing. But I think with Enzo, like, he can't sit deeper and dictate play because he needs someone to be paired with. Like, it's so funny. This fan base made fun of Jorginho, but ultimately, even with no legs, Jorginho was still better defensively than Enzo because he had some sort of awareness about him. He was able
Yes, he
to
did.
screen the defense. He was able to move. He was able to intercept play. Like, Enzo can't necessarily do all of that on his own, at least not for a consistent period of time. He needs a partner. So whether that's him sitting with Lavia or it's Caicedo with Lavia, I don't mind. For me, the midfield constant has to be Lavia, and then depending on our game, play Enzo in there with him or play Caicedo there with him. Caicedo and Enzo is a car crash. That's why last season, JK was right, as bad as Gallagher is off the ball, as bad as Gallagher is on the ball, the Caicedo Gallagher thing midfield kind of worked because at least they were both able to just run around, win the ball back, like to just do the basics. Enzo can't necessarily do that per se. Enzo needs a midfield built around him to protect him, so he can just be on the ball and do his work.
You're right. You for me, you've just summed it up perfectly when you used the KDB example. Because of the way the City players press and the way they break forward, they create the 5 or 6 seconds that Kevin De Bruyne needs, and that's why Kevin De Bruyne's got a sort of free roll where he can go and pick the pockets.
Mhm.
So I understand what you're getting at, but I do think when it comes down to being a technical footballer, at the moment, KDB is what Enzo is trying to be, but Enzo is still 21, 22 because they all go along the Xavi Hernandez kind of player in the terms of they want to try and dictate the. I don't know. What would you say? He's more of an outright attacking midfielder or a midfield playmaker?
Enzo's not an attacking. He's a
No.
playmaker, but not all playmakers have to be attacking midfielders or 10s. Like,
Just utilize
But
the
Prime-
that way.
you can be a play like Cruz is a playmaker, Modric is a playmaker, Ozil's a playmaker. They're all 3 different types of players.
Players.
They're all 3 different types of profiles. I think Enzo has, like, look at Argentina, for example, right? I know people say that team is built around Messi, but like that midfield is also built for Enzo to be able to flourish in. He plays with players like Rodrigo De Paul, who was just a straight up bully, a straight up ball winner,
Yes.
which allows Enzo to play on the ball. Like at Chelsea,
We don't have no
if we
ball
were
release.
building our midfield, which I assumed we were going to do before we got Maresca, I assumed it would be Enzo with Caicedo and Lavia,
Mm-hmm.
like kind of like a. Do you guys remember Juve's team when they had Pirlo and sitting as the anchor, but beside him they had like Marquisio and Vidal as like the hardworking
The
people.
bullies,
Or
yeah.
even before that,
Carlo
remember,
Vidal.
or even before that, remember that AC Milan team that had Pirlo sitting deep and they had Gattuso.
Yeah. You always had like that enforcer, like the cleanup to give you space. He was like the protection.
Exactly. Our
And
Champions League winning
JPT.
team, our second Champions League winning team, like you had Kante, who is not that good on the ball per se, but he's a brilliant ball winner. So pairing him with Jorginho worked. Like strengths and weaknesses, you need a perfect balance. And I think at Chelsea, our midfield needs to, or Maresca, whichever one, needs to find that balance of if you're going to play, because Enzo's our vice captain, so he ultimately has to end up playing, right? If Enzo Fernandez is gonna end up playing games, which is fine, then who is that perfect balance for him? It has to then be Lavia. Lavia is the only pure defensive-minded midfielder we actually have in our squad right now. So Lavia has to play by default when he's fit because he pairs Enzo. But sorry, I'm speaking too much too long.
The thing is, if I'm gonna be honest, remember the transfer window we got Caicedo, which is last season. I remember me saying, like, this is before we were even linked to him. I said I want João Palhinha at Chelsea because he's the sort of profile that you need that sits there. Do you know what I'm saying? You're guaranteed he'll win you all the balls back, especially when you're hitting transition. If you watch his game and if you look at the way we played, especially our games where we played Fulham, especially in our bad season, remember, like, I remember him, every counter attack he was able to
Big up,
stop.
Unks.
Yeah, every counter attack every counter attack was made. He was able to win those duels 1v1. Do you know what I'm saying? Which made Andreas Pereira a little bit better, if I'm gonna be honest.
Yes.
If he looked very good in that Fulham team, if you remember. But now that they've lost him, you can see that Fulham have lost sort of a destroyer in the midfield. They get run past a lot. They concede many goals. If I'm gonna be honest, he really, really helped Marcus. What's that Fulham's manager's name? Marco Silva.
Yeah.
Marco Silva,
Marco Silva's system a lot because he was able to get in the midfield. He was able to turn over in transition. That midfield really, really helped him progress when it comes to attack. If I'm gonna be honest, and this is the sort of thing like we need. I kind of feel that if I'm gonna be honest, we've misprofiled. The fans are not really. I don't know, but the fans are misprofiled Enzo and Caicedo to thinking they're this sort of six that is going to win you. No, this is the problem. Like there's a reason why they play normally up the field when they're for Brighton or Benfica, because when you play as a 10 compared to a 6, especially when you play a team that likes to press the midfield, you tend to have more time to think about what your decision is because you're in the attack. The opposition already is sitting back, you know what I'm saying? So they're waiting for your first move. So you can just scan the box and see who should I pass to. You know what I'm saying? Whereas if you're deep, you're going to get people trying to press you. Obviously, the main aim of the opposition is to win the ball back. Do you know what I'm saying? So the deeper you are, the more pressure it is to make a forward pass. And that's what Enzo can't do. You know what I'm saying? He needs time and space to be able to do make a good pass out of something.
He hasn't got the
he needs
Fabregas or
about
Xavi. He doesn't know what he's going to do before he gets the ball.
This is the thing. When De Bruyne was played deep under City, you can see that the midfield struggled a little when it left. No, not. I'm talking when Rodri was not that great. Remember back in lockdown, basically the no fans. Yeah,
even when they had Fabinho, Fernandinho, and again Fernandinho, who was like one of the best defensive midfielders we've ever seen. You're right. KDB with Fernandinho just couldn't work because as great as KDB is on the ball, he massively lacks defensive
that's
awareness.
what I'm saying.
Or even
and a good example of that, a good example of that is watch our Champions League final. Did you see the amount of time that midfield got overrun? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Although we weren't doing much, it only took us about 4 passes to do, especially when De Bruyne was on the ball playing deep with Fernandinho. I don't know if he played that exact pivot, but I know Kevin De Bruyne. At
No,
some
that
point, he was
Champions League
playing deep.
final, that
Yeah,
Champions League final,
yeah.
they started. It was a midfield basically of um, Gundogan,
Gundogan,
Bernardo Silva,
Bernardo
KDB,
Silva. Yeah.
Mahrez, Sterling, and
Didn't they not
Foden.
play either? They played
They
either
played no six. They played no
Fernandinho,
six,
or they
and
played
they
no
played no
six. Yeah, I
six.
remember.
So it
Yeah,
was Gundogan. It
that's
was
the thing.
they rotated between Gundogan and then KDB. But
That's the
yeah, you're
thing.
right. Like you need Bernardo Silva, for example, right? He's an attacking midfielder. He's a 10. But when he plays in a double pivot, he works because he keeps it simple in terms of simple passes, but he also has an engine and some sort of awareness about him defensively. KDB lacks that, and even Enzo lacks that. You were talking about Xavi and Cesc Fabregas. As
Was
great
that?
as those, no, Wolfie was as great as
Oh,
Cesc and Xavi are. They're like generational all-time midfielders. Like ultimately, they needed some sort of a midfield destroyer with them. Xavi had Busquets basically his whole career. Cesc had uh, when came through at Arsenal, he had Vieira, I
Gilberto
think,
Silva. Gilberto
Roberto
Silva.
Silva, sorry. And then he went to Barcelona. He had Busquets, and then he
at
came to
Chelsea had
Chelsea, and
Matic.
then he had Matic, and then he
Yeah,
had Kante. Like you're playing with great defensive midfielders that make your job even easier to play.
Hmm.
To give you that freedom.
Enzo, well, he might have that in Lavia to be fair, but like you're right, JK, in terms of our fan base massively have misprofiled what Caicedo and Enzo are. They're not.
that's what I'm
Like
trying to say.
Caicedo's not a DM. Enzo is not like, I mean, he could be a deep line playmaker, but like he's not going to be able to break up play and then like and do all of that defense dirty work. He needs a partner with him. He massively needs a partner. And ultimately we either need to try and get the best out of Enzo or we have to sell him. Because I think if we sell him, if he goes to Man City, we'll see how good Enzo really is.
That's the
Or if he
thing.
goes to Real Madrid, we will see how good he really is. Because they will give him the time on the ball that he really needs. That will give him that sort of freedom he really needs to flourish and show his ability. So we'll see.
That's what I'm
Ultimately.
saying. That,
JBT.
that's
Can't
that's
I?
exactly what I'm saying. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because
no.
like, bro, because like for this system to work, you need to have someone who can make a decision on where to pass, not only on the ball, but also you need to b- basically you need to be good at 1v1 duels when it comes to getting hit in transition as well, because otherwise you're just going to keep conceding goals. For me, I've seen some fans use that as an excuse for our centre backs, which I think is kind of ridiculous in the sense of most of our goals have been avoidable, even in preseason.
Thank
Even if
you.
you watch Real Madrid, like even if you watch Real
Oh,
Madrid, the Real Madrid one, like I feel that if the centre backs were more aggressive enough, those goals don't go in. Do you know what I'm saying? Especially the City goals. When I'm talking about the preseason game, if I'm gonna be, and Haaland's goal was a disgrace as well. Those were the centre
mm,
backs' fault. You can't really blame the midfield for that. Do you know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
So
Hang on, boys. Let me ask JPT this because as well, because I've asked everyone except JPT. What's your whole feeling on the Enzo Fernandez thing, bro?
our
My
best.
co-host.
Like I said, our best 11 does not include Enzo Fernandez. And then when I said that, when you asked, is Enzo's future secure? Is it safe? And I said yes and no. No, because he's not. He's not our best player or option unless he has a proper DM next to him. But the Maresca is keeping him in the lineup by making him either captain, vice captain, whatever it may be. So we're gonna have to deal with him in the lineup, even while Lavia's out. Um, I do agree with everyone here that yes, he does need that partnership. I mean, even Jorginho had Conte next to him. Caicedo, I think Caicedo and even Gallagher would have been a great support for Enzo to give him that time. Like if Gallagher was good with Enzo or Gallagher was good with Caicedo and going in the second half of last season to clean up, I can imagine what he would have provided with Enzo, like doing the dirty work, like fighting for the ball, even though he might not be best on the ball, but maybe his best trait is just to do the dirty work. But yeah, no, so right now we're trying to play with the hands tied behind our back, because right now we don't have that option in midfield to go on, like I said, to the bench to give that support up in front of our defense, and also to kind of release Enzo, or to free up Enzo and give him that extra 5 seconds he might need. It's almost like in American football terms, if Enzo's the quarterback, he needs his offensive line to give him that extra 2 seconds, 3 seconds to make the right pass, to give him that like little sense of not panicking, make the overhitting the pass, giving the ball away, especially if he's going to play in that deep role. But yeah, it is a
That's
mistake.
actually a perfect analogy, actually. Actually, let me ask a question, because I don't watch American football. Is it possible for your quarterback? This sounds stupid. Is it possible for your quarterback to be able to create his own space? You know what I mean?
That's what you would call a mobile quarterback. So like if he's good on his feet, yeah,
I guess essentially protect him, so he has that couple of extra seconds to put his head up and pick out that pass, right?
Yeah, because you try to find a quarterback if with a terrible offensive line, you have 5-6 big ass guys trying to hurt you, trying to find a pass in 30, 20, whatever yard pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
I think I froze. No, my question is like, is it like essentially your offensive line is there to like stop the guys running at you, so that you have that couple of extra seconds to pick your head up and make that pass, right? Essentially, that's what it is.
Yeah, because like I said, every second counts.
Is it possible for your quarterback to be able to this sounds stupid, but like create his own space, essentially?
As far as when you say create his own space, like to provide his own protection, or like if his
if I'm the quarterback and you guys are like the opposition running at me, is it possible for me to
Yes, he can. He can run. Like, because he'll find space to run into, because what they do.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Like as a mobile quarterback, if they say, okay, and this is where might throw things off. There's a pocket where the quarterback tends to stay, because that's like his free space after hiking or getting the ball into his hands. But if the protection up front is shit, this is where you would need a mobile quarterback to move around, create space, juke out, and it happens. So you see, like Patrick Mahomes, if anyone watches, he is like that. Even Lamar Jackson is like that.
But it's not normal, right? Like mobile quarterbacks.
Now it is, because but like maybe even like 10, 15 years ago, no, it was like quarterbacks tend to be slow. They're maybe be like bigger size, or like they can avoid being tackled because he's too tough to tackle down. Now it's hard to find, especially a good one to a balanced, mobile but yet accurate with his passing.
Yeah, because quarterbacks now essentially play how strikers play now. They play behind your shoulder, literally.
Yeah. And that's basically like what you just described about football in modern day. It's hard to find a defensive midfielder that is brilliant off the ball and also brilliant on the ball. It's hard to find a Busquets or a Rodri or a Fernandinho.
Well, none of them.
A lot of them are either like Kante, or not Kante. A lot of them are either like Makelele, Casemiro profiles who are brilliant on the ball.
I was just about to say, you've mentioned the master, Nick.
Yeah.
Makelele, because he was the master at killing space, because he would go to where the space was and stomp the space out. Because he wasn't big, he wasn't quick, he wasn't that powerful.
He was smart.
He was, but Makelele was not someone who you could spray a 60-yard ball. However, on the opposite end, you had Pirlo, who was phenomenal on the ball, but like defensively, he could easily be targeted if he wasn't protected. So you have that complete extreme polar opposites, I might add. But to have that balance of someone who can win the ball, but also be brilliant on the ball, it's hard to find that balance in this modern day. Like, it's hard to find a Rodri, for example. It's hard to find a Busquets. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
It's hard to find. And everyone thought Enzo was this mobile quarterback, quote unquote. But like ultimately,
No, he's not.
No.
I
Well,
think
wait,
the only six out there is kind of
yeah,
similar as
Caicedo and
João
Enzo are both
Palhinha.
eights.
That's
Like
it.
I've been
yeah.
saying,
From my
they're different
in my
type of eights,
opinion.
but they're both eights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Go
as I
ahead,
was
Jacob.
saying, like, yeah, what I was saying is that I think the sort of profile you're looking for, if you're describing, I'm not saying that they're better, but let's say
Onana.
Rodri and them, Onana, nah,
We
Onana's more of an eight.
Is he?
yeah,
He
but
Onana's
doesn't
an
really
eight.
sit back.
He's an eight.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Onana's
trying to
an eight.
say.
Yeah.
He
well,
doesn't really sit.
yeah, but he's more. Well, yeah, but he can do the job.
The thing is, Wolfie, we can.
Onana's a box to box eight. Like he works in a double pivot, but Onana can't sit on his own.
But Prime, they made the thing is, yeah, it looked like that under Everton because Everton plays such a defensive sort of
Mhm.
system. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But like,
yeah.
if I'm gonna be honest, if you want someone similar to that sort of profile, João Palhinha, but
Oh
I
yeah,
don't see
Paulinho.
anyone else like. I really rate this guy, bro. He's gone to
Bro,
Bayern Munich, you know.
do you know who I wanted
Yeah.
at Chelsea before we spent money on Caicedo and Enzo? I wanted
Tonali?
us to buy. I wanted us to buy Sandro Tonali and
Oh
Declan
yeah,
Rice.
yeah, that's a
So
very
in
good
those
one as well.
two, you have
Yeah,
Declan
we
Rice,
all
who
wondered why
is
we didn't go for Declan
on
Rice.
on
That
on
one
those
makes no
two.
sense.
On those two, you have Rice, who is yes, fine. Rice is not that good on the ball, but he is a world class destroyer. And you have Sandro Tonali, who is brilliant off the ball and also brilliant on the ball. And those two, for example, as a partnership, or Tonali and Paulinho as a partnership, would have actually worked as a pair. Caicedo and Enzo as a pair are two completely different profiles of players.
They're
They
very,
don't
very
work.
different.
They don't pair together, and it shows how embarrassing they don't work together. When Caicedo and Gallagher work, and Gallagher is not that good, and he works with Caicedo, it's embarrassing.
I
Do you,
hear you.
do, do you think
This
this
is the
is
thing.
what do you see this pairing? I'm sorry, JK, but I just wanted to ask anyone this, and it might be an obvious yes, but do you think that they're just forcing this because of the price tag? Because this is the only thing that I can
It's the
see them
price
having in
tag.
common. Like,
Well, they have
Well,
to make it work because of the money
Exactly.
we
That's
spend.
that's that's how the mod. This is what this sort of hierarchy has done. I mean, the players that you buy for 100 million, they need to actually work out. Because I'm gonna be honest, I don't think as a business you would like to make a big loss on such a player with that much money and Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's gonna look embarrassing on the board. If I'm gonna be honest, though I don't rate the board at all. Do you know what I'm saying? But if I'm gonna be honest with you, is they keep getting played there because they're most expensive. You know what I'm saying? It was the same issue with Lukaku. I'm not saying no, I'm not saying Lukaku got played, but you know what I'm saying. But there were times where we just had to play him because it's despite of what
It's
he's done.
it's like Arsenal, right? With Declan Rice, like
Yeah, hundred
Arteta
percent.
found the way Arsenal want to play. For example, the Arteta found out very early that Rice can't sit on his own and dictate the flow of the game. So that's why Arteta pushed Rice forward to play as an eight. Ultimately, when you spend that much money on a player, you have to find a way to fit them in your team. Arteta couldn't
Exactly.
afford to drop Rice, just like Arteta spending that much money on Havertz, and he wanted to play him as a left eight, and that failed. Arteta had to play him back up top and drop Jesus. When you spend that much money, and yes, for Arsenal, 65 is still a lot of money because they don't tend to spend a lot. They don't tend to spend 100 million all the time or anywhere close to that. When you spend a lot of money on a player, you have to fit them in. Mbappe at Real Madrid, he doesn't work as a striker, but eventually they're going to have to find a way to fit him in, even if that's by playing Vinicius out on the right wing so Mbappe can play on the left or dropping
Prime.
Vinicius. You have to find a way
City.
to fit a player in when you spend big money. City did
Exactly.
that with Holland. They had
They
to
did it with
change up their
Grealish as well.
style for Holland. You have to do it when you spend that money on a big player. Can't afford to. You kind of like look at Man United. Where Anthony, they had to keep playing him until it got to a point where he was so bad that they dropped him. And I think with
That
Enzo, like, I don't know. Enzo's our vice captain, so he has to be in this team. Like, ultimately, he has to be in this team.
It's an interesting puzzle that needs to be solved. It's an
Yeah.
it's an
interesting
expensive puzzle.
It's a very fucking expensive, 200 million plus quid's worth.
I
But
mean,
look,
I'm sorry. I think at this point, just Enzo has to be on the bench. If we're gonna have to sacrifice one of our expensive signings, just put Enzo on the bench to keep Caicedo in, and I wouldn't be opposed to Caicedo Lavia partnership going forward as long as Lavia stays healthy. But we need to sign a proper DM this January.
I agree, but the solution. Well, we have a proper DM in Lavia. We also have a proper DM in Leslie Okuchukwu, who's at Southampton on
Yeah,
loan.
that's the
Watch
thing.
him.
Yeah.
He is phenomenal. Watch him. I think our solution, at least for the next like game or two, is Caicedo playing as an inverted right back. I think that's what, because Gusto potentially is out injured. Reece James might not be fully fit yet. I think he'll play Gusto right back, and he will invert into the midfield with Lavia. And then Enzo again is going to be this attack-minded player. Oh, the Wolves game, or not the Wolves, the Palace game. You know how everyone was saying Neto had a bad game?
He wasn't
Right.
targeted too much. Yeah.
Yeah,
He
but
got
do you
the
know why
ball too
Neto
much.
had? Yeah, but do you know why Neto had a bad game? And you know it's you know how on our right hand side we have Madueke and then we have Palmer,
Mhm.
right? And Madueke now looks even better because he's able to play with Palmer.
Mhm.
Neto, who was he playing with? He's playing with
Enzo.
Enzo. We know how good Neto is, but like he's gonna look worse because he's playing with Enzo.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have anyone
He
to
also
bounce
plays
and
with
play with.
Cucurella.
No. But I'm not talking. I'm talking about like his actual like his actual
Only
left
8 now.
Because if
left
I'm gonna
8
be
or
honest,
left
Prime,
10.
the thing
No,
is like
but JK, I'm
Neto
talking about
doesn't link up. Wait,
no,
brother. Neto doesn't link up with Enzo like that.
yeah, but
If I'm
that's
being
Yeah,
honest,
no.
but
He's saying the
yeah,
his link
partnership
up.
needs to develop. That's what.
JK,
That's what.
no, JK, that's my point. They don't link up together because it doesn't work. It's my point. Enzo
Oh.
playing that far forward does not work. That's
Yeah,
my point.
he was on
I thought
left.
so.
He was on the left wing as well at times on Sunday. I
Bro,
couldn't
it's
believe it.
Palmer. Bro, if Madueke was playing with someone like Enzo, he wouldn't look this good.
Agreed.
I also see the thing is with Neto as well. I've realized he's more playing on the touchline more than no matter where. He's not really cutting in as much. Do you know what I'm saying? If you've watched his games, he's normally on the wide, just trying to look for a cross rather. Oh, I understand, that's the system he's been told, but I feel like he needs to have a bit more freedom. That's how he thrived at Wolves. Do you get what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And this is a worry I have with the system. I mean, yes, they can be hugline wingers, but like the thing is, don't limit them too much because you're gonna need it at some point. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, for example, if you saw what City did to Grealish, this is where Prime's good point comes in with making £100 million signings work. If I'm gonna be honest, he's very good on the ball, but the thing is, Pep couldn't really. He had to limit it a bit. If I'm gonna be honest, because Grealish had to do certain stuff in the system, such as, be that sort of vocal point on the wide, on the on the left hand side to, you know, ping balls into the box, wherever. But that's not Grealish's game. Do you know what I'm saying? Which is why people said, "Oh, why is Grealish is a flop? He should be getting." No. The thing is, it's just the Pep system. This is why I worry about Neto. I don't want him to be too limited, as in like he can't express himself as well. Because at the end of the day, this is what wingers are for. If I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, I
Like,
know, but like ultimately, your left hand side is gonna be limited to whoever they end up pairing with. So if we're gonna have Enzo in there, whether it's Neto or Mudryk or whoever or Sancho, they're gonna be limited to what they can do playing with Enzo. That's why Dewsbury Hall has to play. I thought Dewsbury Hall was really just like a squad player, but like
Mhm.
ultimately he actually understands this system more than Enzo does. So Enzo might be the better player technically, but system wise, Dewsbury Hall is the better fit.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that. To be fair, you know what's funny? I even forgot about Kieran Dewsbury Hall.
I didn't,
Flipping hell.
but like
Oh,
you said
jeez.
about like people were saying about even though he is better to suit to the system, the level of football is far superior to the Championship. Like you just said about getting less time and stuff. So even Dewsbury Hall's going to need time to maybe get used to it. We'll see.
I mean,
think he'll
he
be
has
fine.
played in the Prem, hasn't he?
He's played Prem. He's
He's
played
done
Prem
well for Leicester
before.
in the Prem.
He's playing in the Europa League as well. Dewsbury Hall will be fine.
Yeah, but can he hold down a spot for us though?
Well, until Enzo gets dropped. No,
To be fair, it was under a different system. He was playing under
it's
Brendan Rodgers, so in the
yeah.
Premier
Like
League. So
Enzo has to get dropped for Dewsbury Hall to really like get in.
Well, I think we've all agreed on that actually. That Enzo
Yeah.
needs to be dropped. So, but look,
Mm.
But
we're gonna.
anyways, Wolfie, JPT, Prime. Listen, I got a bounce, yeah.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
gonna
we're
round this
wrapping up
We're,
actually.
we're gonna
All
wrap
right,
up,
cool.
bro, because it's 1:45 here, and I've got to go work tomorrow. So yeah, I hear you. But look, quickly. Okay, JK is gone. Latimus, your chats in. So your channels in the chat as always. You got anything coming up over the weekend, bro?
Um.
You want to stream or anything with Steve or anyone?
Oh yeah, I think I might with Steve. Oh, I think I might do a watch along. Ireland play England, so I think we'll do a watch along for that one.
Oh yeah, that'll be interesting.
So, yeah, that'll be
Oh,
fun.
by the
But
way,
yeah,
if you haven't subscribed to Prime or Steve, please do so. Prime's chat's in the link as well. Strasbourg, Steve's link is in the chat as well. I need to catch up with that guy as well. I
Yeah,
haven't seen that guy in a hot minute.
but yeah, apologies that I was late.
So,
I had other things and stuff to get
it's
to.
fine, man.
who was she? No joking. But yeah, no worries, bro. You made it eventually. Good conversation. We had loads of people on, loads of Chelsea fans. So the only person I missed today was Deals. Big up, brother. Whoever you are, if you've seen this today, big up, man. I hope you well.
Was he not on?
No, he
He's
wasn't here
he's
today.
taking care of some stuff.
He wasn't on today. So hopefully he's doing well because obviously you and him are like literally the core Blues brothers, the four of us. So you know what I mean, because we were the ones that did it for like 20 plus episodes. So you know what I mean, I'm always eternally grateful to the three of you. Big I up. Big I up. How do you say that, JP?
That up is from Apple. That I up.
That's it. Dear. Big up Wolf and the crew. Good bunch here. Thank you very
Big up,
much,
Russ.
brother. Thank you, Eros. Hope you're doing well, brother. And big up to you. But big up to everybody else.
Big up Jordan.
Big up Jordan Henman Sports. Big up, brother. Are you doing well? You must be loving life right now, just destroying United at the weekend. Not hard though. To be fair, Mo Salah. I wonder how he's feeling as well, because obviously Mo Salah said this would be his last season for Liverpool. Sad face.
Yeah, I mean he did what he needed to, but it's a good career.
That's it is. That it is. But anyway, big up to everyone in the chat. Eros, the long-haired one. Don't forget to subscribe to his channel as well. Very funny guy. Big up to him. Big up to Rosie. Big up to Leroy. Big up to DJ Crane. If I missed anyone, big up to Tony Claude TV. Obviously, big up to him. Leroy the Fight Week show as always. Prime. He's here with us. TT. Big up to you as well. Chelsea Perspective. Big up to you as well. Big up to everyone that's been on. Thank you everyone for contributing. DJ Crane, obviously, that was here in the building earlier, but he's split already, so big up to him as well later on. Yeah, man. Drop Jordan a subscribe as well if you can on the way out, if you haven't. But yeah, anyone else want to say anything? Because I think me and JPT will be back Saturday evening for the watch along for Bournemouth, as long as he's not busy.
I'll say this weekend. I was like, when long is international break for? But yeah, no.
No. Was it? Wasn't it? Is it? Oh, yeah, we've already broken up for the international break.
Yeah.
So it'll be
it's next week.
Is it next week?
Next weekend. Yeah.
All right then. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll probably, if there's any good Blues news, then we'll probably be back next Wednesday then, or next Monday between then, seeing what we might expect and see what's in. Is it with the Osherman thing? Because there is one more thing I want to ask everybody. That Osherman deal from going Galatasaray, was that a slap in the face to us? Because it's basically he doesn't want to stay there, and it's just waiting for someone else to come and get him.
I mean,
what do you guys think?
Supposedly, I mean, there was a clause in the loan to for Gala where, come January, there's a clause in there that Chelsea, I think Arsenal, and I think another club, or just some other clubs as well, can make an offer and get Victor out of Turkey. Whether it's to London, whether it's to Spain. I think Madrid was a name mentioned in there. I think Bayern was in there as well. It was an 8-9 million euro loan. It's just baffling, and I think now it's, what is it, that the clause is that we can get him for 60 million come January. I'm not mad at it. The thing is that he knows what he's doing by having it's not just for Chelsea, so he's keeping his options open. He's also going to put pressure on the board. Let's get this deal done, and let's just make sure we have a 9.
Have we missed our chance
No,
with him? Prime?
The whole Victor situation, I think, is embarrassing on all ends. How it ended up happening. It's embarrassing on Chelsea's end to have all the balls on your court and to have a guy you've been chasing for like well over a year not to land him. It's embarrassing on Napoli's part to have a player who last year you could have actually sold for 100 mil, but because you wanted more money, you made him sign a new contract and you kept him for another year just so that you could try and entice a bidding war, and that didn't happen. And ultimately, he's gone out on loan, and you're going to lose him for much less than you originally even planned to happen.
More than half.
His agent takes a massive loss because he wanted. The only reason why his agent kept pushing that Saudi thing is because his agent wanted more money from the deal. And then you have Victor, where you don't want to stay at Napoli. You wanted to come to Chelsea because that was your dream move. You also had the offer from Saudi to get generational wealth, which most footballers do not ever dream of touching. And now you're ending up playing in Galatasaray. So, like, it's a loss on all ends. Do I think we can still end up getting him? Potentially. That's the rumors that we're going to go for him in January. But it depends. Who knows? Like, Jackson already has 2 goals in 2 games right now. If Jackson is on 10, like he scored 14 last season in the Prem. If Jackson's on, say, 10 goals come January, at that point, the conversation is we don't need Victor Osimhen. So who knows? Who knows how things actually pan out?
Time will tell.
Yeah.
I just want the best move for him personally because I am Nigerian. So I want him to do well so that he can do well for my country. So, but do I want him at Chelsea? Selfishly, yes, I do. Because if he goes to Arsenal, he will win them the Prem. I'm very worried about because I think Arsenal are just missing a clear gunman. And I think if Arteta stops being stupid and they buy Victor, he will win them the Prem. And I'm so worried about that.
Well,
Yeah,
but
it's more to do.
It'll cost him 70 mil now, so theoretically that puts him in a lot of people's ballparks. So
exactly. And as much as he loves Chelsea, like
he'll go
Victor's
for the money, bro.
not
He'll
stupid.
go with the money, bro.
No, not even the money. He may love Chelsea, but he's also not stupid. Like going to Arsenal could potentially get him
the league.
a league title. At Chelsea, we're nowhere near that. So
also, they're gonna give him set wages, set preferred wages he wants. No incentives, no nothing.
Arsenal will throw you. They threw Havertz the bag. Like they will throw you the bag. That's why Arsenal, by the way, can't really just get rid of Jesus because they've thrown him the bag. It's what Arsenal do. People talk about how Chelsea they overpay for players. Have Arsenal do that too. There's a reason why Man City walked away from the Declan Rice deal because they didn't want to pay the price tag and they weren't willing to pay the wages. Bayern Munich were not willing to pay the wages. Arsenal were. Arsenal just throw the bag at players.
Fair enough. Yeah. But look, we're going to leave it there. We're going to round it off. Anyone got any final words or last things to say?
Yeah, hopefully everyone just comes back healthy after international break, and you'll catch us back here, good or bad. We're gonna be here to support our club
and dissect it, and perhaps have everyone laughing at us as well.
Yeah, we'll see.
But yeah, big up to the long-haired one and everyone else in the chat as well for his last comment. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Stay safe, and we're out of here.
Peace.
Peace.